Hugo, let's just start with a quick intro. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've been working on.
Yeah, so hello, everybody. Very pleased to be here. Thank you for the invite. My name's Hugo Feiler. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Minima. Minima is a layer 1 blockchain that runs in full on every device. So anyone with a mobile phone or an IoT device can actually run a full constructing and validating node, which means that everyone can be in charge. So there's no intermediaries, no miners, no stakers. Everyone runs everything in full. We do a lot of work within the automotive industry, putting full nodes on vehicles for EV charging, battery passports, and event data recording. We also work within drones. We're partnered with Arm and Siemens to actually put Minima on chip, which means that any node will be able to run a full validating node on there. And then with regards to this sort of the topic we're discussing today, I mean, really, it's going to be about making sure that AI agents remain truthful and that the data they're producing is real and everyone can trust it. And so by having a full node, you can actually trust it yourself. So you don't have to fact check it with anyone else. You can do the fact checking yourself.
Amazing. I mean, yesterday we read that AWS, 75% of their coders were replaced by AI, so hopefully it's not going to replace everything yet. Yeah. And Alex, would love a quick intro. Oh, and Jed's joined us. There we go. Better late than never. Alex, a really quick intro, and then I'll go to you before we dive into talking about the DeFi that we're talking about.
Awesome. Yeah. I want to say that I'm super grateful to be here. Last time I saw Harry was on a paddle court in the south of France, so change of setting. Lovely place as well over here. Also a big fan of London, and very grateful for what you're doing for the ecosystem in the space here. I remember being 3 years ago here for Token 2049, and that shifted to other places, and Zebu's taken the baton and bringing everybody together here. My name's Alex. I'm originally Swedish and Belgian. Lived in the US, lived in China. Quite an international background, which is resonates with the crypto ethos. Doesn't know borders, permissionless. I've worked at various companies. The most well-known one is Amber Group, which is a Southeast Asian market maker. They're also investors in this new venture that I'm engaged in called Litheum, which is a layer 1. And what we're doing is innovating on the consensus algorithm.
Awesome. And Jack.
Hi guys.
Quick intro, let's go.
Yeah, hi guys, I'm Jack. I'm the CEO and founder of Eagle AI Labs. We specialize in using AI for trading. We started the company around about 2 years ago. Since then, we've seen a mass adoption, mainly from retail clients, using our infrastructure to help them trade and be more profitable in these markets. So yeah, great to be here.
Awesome. So, I mean, my first thought is like, what exactly is DeFi AI, and how is that different from like traditional DeFi or AI trading systems?
So basically, the main thing that we sort of see the benefit of AI and decentralized finance is mainly for risk. I mean, the main thing that most of our traders and people that we spoke to from an institutional perspective, they really struggled with how to grasp the market, essentially. So the way that we basically use our AI infrastructure is more of an overview and take that sort of human bias away. So rather than saying, if mainly as me as a trader, when I used to trade, I used to do a lot of TA, etc. And certain things that I personally believe would help me trade weren't necessarily good ways to trade. So bringing in the AI to basically what we do has benefited not only me as a trader, but also our traders essentially across the market space. So bringing AI into decentralized finance has changed it, I'd say, massively from not only a retail perspective, but also an institutional perspective as well.
Amazing.
I mean, I think the first thing to say is that, there's no going back from it. It's not a case of, there's going to be AI traders and there's going to be retail trading as we knew it before. It's never going to be the same again, because if you can use an AI agent to actually do all the research that puts you on almost the same level as the institutional research desks, suddenly you're going to start having all of that information at your fingertips.
As a single person, you've got institutional...
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, I guess, I mean, you'll know more about this as well, Jack, is that, it's actually going to, a lot of the upside of trades is if there's sort of inefficient markets. But if you've got AI agents running the markets, then everything's going to become more efficient. So actually the ability to make huge gains potentially could be a lot less, basically. So I think, it's not a case of if, but it is here now, basically. So we need to accept that.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think from when we first started this project around about 2 years ago, AI in sort of decentralized finance was quite a new thing. And now we're seeing more and more people, I mean, even the likes of ourselves, right? We always go on ChatGPT and what's going on with certain things or questions. More so, traders are now using a lot of AI and even agents to sort of better their trading and manage their risks. So you are right. I don't think there's any going back from this. I think it's only going to proceed into a much larger scale, effectively.
Yeah, I'll add to that this point of how we might not go back to it by echoing something that I've heard Michael Wu, who's the CEO and co-founder of Amber Group, say, which is that humans, us, we might be the better users of crypto, and the real users will be the AI agents. So we might have been testing it out and paving the way for them to then come and really make use of the technology.
Yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense in the sense that AIs aren't going to have a Monzo, and crypto is a much better token for the thing. But I guess, does that mean that AI agents are eventually going to replace human traders, or will they augment them? Is it like that we've got to learn to use the AI, or are we being replaced?
I wouldn't say we're being replaced as of yet. I think there's going to be, as time goes on, we will. I mean, people still have their own ways in how they want to trade. A lot of the traders that I first spoke to about when we was building the company, they was like, I don't need it, this is how I trade, this is my system. And when I started to say, well, your research can be taken down to, say, 2-3 hours down to about 2 minutes, right? They then started to understand, okay, this might be beneficial for me. So I think as time goes on, more people will come to use AI agents and AI strategies to sort of save time as a trader. But there's going to be a point, and I'm already seeing it, where people go, well, okay, if I could just automate everything and the AI can trade for me, then why would I sit at a desk for 8 hours a day?
Yeah.
Be on a beach with my feet up, having a great time, and the AI can be trading for me. So I do think there's going to be a change, and there will be a gap build bigger and bigger, essentially from retail traders and AI traders. But I think there's still time to basically adopt it. I mean, people are only really starting to, say, adopt crypto institutionally widely now. So I feel like once people start to accept that AI agents can trade for you and there is positions to be made from it, then yeah, it will start to come into tuition.
Yeah, I can't imagine in the future that it'll ever be feasible for someone to effectively trade themselves, because AI agents will operate immediately, instantaneous. It's not a case of, I guess, it's interesting. When I was looking at the panel topic, I thought back to, GameStop and what would have happened if AI agents were involved with GameStop. And, there still would have been the short squeeze potential to see the shorts that the hedge funds were putting in there, but that would have been spotted immediately, and everyone would have instantaneously operated on that. You wouldn't have had that sort of social build-up with, will it, won't it, we need to get behind this, come on everybody, come together and stuff like that. It literally would have been immediate. All the AI agents would have jumped on it, and it would have been a flash crash and then straight back down again. So I do think that the world is going to completely change, and the ability for traders to sit there and ponder anything, even for a few seconds, it will be gone, because agents will be able to, they will literally move in nanoseconds, and then it's a case of the sort of latency, and that's what you win on. You win on the infrastructure and the latency and the model that you're using. And the interesting thing is, with trading at the moment, you're looking at human emotion and trying to play against that. I was chatting to my brother about it, and we were thinking it's a bit like poker. It's like, given how would AI agents play poker? Because poker is all about poker face and playing the game. Whereas if the agent knows every single possible permutation of every single card that could possibly come out, then they're going to operate in a very different way to saying, well, that guy's looking a bit sad. How am I going to deal with that sort of thing? So I just think it's a very interesting dynamic. It's going to change the face. I mean, not exactly, we don't know how it's going to go, but we do know it's going to change completely.
Wow. I love that thought about the speed, isn't it? That it can think, and maybe that's where faster blockchains will. I mean, obviously we saw with the flash crash on Friday, painful day, but that's basically Binance USDC depegging, and then the whole market just moving at that speed. And I guess looking at that, if everyone is trading using AI, how does that affect risk? Or if we're trading, how do we mitigate the risks of the AI trading there?
I think in terms of the risk, essentially, not everyone's going to be trading using AI. A lot of people will be against using AI because they'll be worried that, well, not worried, more of an ego thing, that I'm better than the AI, essentially. So I wouldn't be worried that the whole space will be using AI to trade. So as time goes on, maybe that will happen, but there needs to be sort of guardrails essentially put in place to avoid stuff like the flash crash on Friday. However, from what I did see on the flash crash on Friday was, not sort of promoting ourselves, but we sort of saw there was a lot of weakness in the market that the models were picking up on. And obviously it was catastrophic, really, what happened compared to Bitcoin, 122 down to 102 within the space of 6 hours. Now, we picked up there was weakness in the market, and we told our traders and our fund that we work with that there's a lot of weakness, be careful. If you're going to do anything, go short. And obviously, as we saw, the market completely crashed. So the way that we picked up was more of a risk perspective to say there's weakness here. I'd go careful trading today effectively. But as time goes on, there needs to be guardrails in place, because if everyone's using AI technology to trade, you'll basically be fighting AI against AI. And the one that will win is the one that's the most powerful, let's say, or has the most investment into it. So from a trader's perspective, going back to the flash crash, a lot of normal traders were liquidated. I mean, my ex has never been so flooded with the amount of people that lost money on that Friday. It was terrible. It was probably the worst. I think it was 19 billion worth of liquidations, and it was the worst crash we've seen in crypto. So I was standing there and I was thinking, well, how could this have been avoided? And seeing our systems in place that actually saw that there was weakness said to me that AI is powerful and AI is needed in this space, and retail traders can use it.
Yeah. I mean, go on.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see. I thought about a few things as you guys were talking. One of them is the way that in chess and in Go, AlphaGo ended up beating the human players, and with AI it might be the same in trading. And there might be a system or a game in which we separate the AI, so we have AI against AI and then humans against humans, or human ingenuity. Trading is ultimately about having insight and being creative and seeing ahead, or attempting to predict the future. And I think humans still have an edge in doing that. AI obviously in the short term can take a lot more inputs and process them for short-term trading, but in terms of seeing 5 years ahead, or 5 years ago, investing in Bitcoin was a human insight. I think humans will still be able to do that going forward.
Yeah. I mean, I think, as I say, I think as more and more AI agents come on board to trade, then obviously they will sort of almost create reflex loops that they'll actually react to each other, and then the question is, if you have, in theory, they're all looking to try and maximize profit for their traders, but then if you have other ones that are, you're not going to get the perfect scenario, because other traders will come in and take a contrarian approach to it and specifically try and game the gamers, if that makes sense. And I know a bit like where there was an AI agent was told to you had to try and persuade it to give you up the prize that it held on to, and they someone managed to find a way to actually sort of dupe the chat bot to actually give the prize up, and I think that kind of stuff is going to happen as well. So I think that it's going to be a Wild West out there. It's not going to be perfectly organized markets, because in many ways that doesn't help anyone, because if you can't trade against the unknown, then you're not going to make a huge profit.
Yeah. And okay, so what do you think the biggest misconceptions people have when they're using AI in trading and in decentralized finance? And what does an actual stack look like? What is the stack that like in marketing we have like a suite of Adobe products. What is this AI stack that you're using, and if people were to use it?
Just on your first point now, I think the biggest misconception on people using AI is that it's a money-making machine. You can just sort of sit back and go, well, that's that. It will trade for me and it's going to make me a millionaire. That's wrong. You need to know how to use the tool. Essentially, it's another tool in your armory that you bring out to basically help you trade. So I'd say the biggest misconception would be people that start to use AI and think, oh, well, the AI told me to go long, the AI told me to go short. You still, now in what I've seen, you still need to have a bit of human bias, because sometimes the models can be off, sometimes the models can get things wrong. So you still need to mitigate those risks with your own personal opinions, let's say. So having that as a tool rather than having it as a sort of money printer, as a lot of people like to say it is definitely one thing to think about.
Yeah, and I think it's a good point, actually. It's not about, if you take the example of coding, we have people are starting to use AI to code, and we get people who are, within our team, we've had people who aren't actually coders, but they know AI, or they think they know AI, and they start asking it to do things for them, and code this, code that, and then they just get more excited, and they just keep coding, and then actually it looks amazing, but doesn't work. And then they go to one of our coders, can you fix this for me? And they're like, no, because I have no idea, because it's literally such a spaghetti junction of commands and setups. So I do think that actually, as you say, the advantage for people using AI agents for trading are the traders who understand the dynamics, and then they can put the right prompts in, because this is about prompting the AI agents to do the right thing, because they're not thinking for themselves as such, they're taking your guidance from that. So I think that there will still be winners and losers, and actually the better the trader. So actually, again, it's a bit like you have to have the background knowledge to be able to know what to prompt it. You can't just say, make me money, because that isn't going to work, basically. So I think that, so back to your point, Harry, the misconception is, as you say, will it make me money? And it's not going to be like that. You still have to be able to guide it in the right direction.
Yeah, just back to your point about saying that you've experienced some things from coders, essentially. You're right. People start to use AI and they say, build me this, build me that, build me this, build me that. And all of a sudden, you've just got this giant ball of mess. And like you said, you say, well, fix this for me. What's going on here? Why is it not working? You still need to understand how to use the AI and how to basically benefit from using AI, or it will just keep building and building and building, because it's a yes man in the end of the day. It's not going to say no, it's just going to say yes, 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 yes. Yeah. So you need to understand how to use it and how to benefit you in terms of using it for your trading strategies. So it's all about prompting it with the right things, but understanding as a human how to actually use the software that you're using. But also, from what we've seen, is actually not putting too much pressure on it, and in terms of adding more and more layers, it performs better. So less is actually more, essentially.
Great.
I would add to that, Jack made a point about how you might want to add a human element to the strategies that the AI suggests. And I think that's valid in the context of, for example, what you were saying earlier about the change in winds in the US over the last year, and how you're hoping that the UK or London might do the same thing. That would be very difficult to predict. You might be able to take in all the information about the volume and all the technical analysis, essentially, but a change in headwinds like this, and we've seen the incredible power of it over the last year, specifically in the US, but all over the world. So that would be very difficult for an AI model, I would imagine, to incorporate. And then the model I'm most familiar with, I mentioned my experience working with Amber Group. That's the market-making model. So you can have a market-neutral model where you're basically putting the spread. So anyone who makes a market order, who either buys or sells a coin, is selling or buying to you, and you make money on the spread. That's an AI model that can be called market neutral because you don't have to own the coins to make money from it. But yeah, there's a bunch of different. I think they're talking mostly about picking directions, long shorts.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, from what we've seen over the past year in terms of how the market has moved, I mean, we've been building models, we've been putting things into our models and how we think the market will move long or short, X, Y, Z, and then we start testing them in the real field, let's say, with real profit, with real money, let's say, and then all of a sudden, Donald Trump decides to tweet that he's going to tariff China, and the whole strategy goes out the window. So there's still things in the market that even a model can't pick up on. And even saying, we tried to basically train the model or a new model on Trump's tweets and how his tweet would actually affect a market. And trying to teach the model that was actually, it was quite funny because the minute that the news came out about the tariff on China, the model actually, it was like it just stored back, let's say, said to shore, and obviously we saw the massive crash. So that's quite fascinating in terms of how much social media is affecting the market, but how do you tie that into your sort of strategies that you're building out as well? It's trying to pair them all together to get a really good model.
Yeah, because Hugo, I like your point in the sense that we had a client and he was asking ChatGPT to build him a website, and the website, and he was like, can you do it on Webflow? And the ChatGPT was like, yeah, I can do it on Webflow. And then it's like, where's the website? It's loading. And the weekend goes past, and then he's like, what's going on? And he goes on Reddit, and ChatGPT was just lying to him. Can't actually use Webflow. So that's quite scary if your AI is like, yeah, I'm trading, I'm winning, and it's down. But if the DeFi AI systems do become dormant, what does that mean for like the retail investors? Are we leveling the playing field for retail investors, or are we widening it?
I'd say from a research and more of an education perspective, we're sort of bringing retail users up to speed in terms of the knowledge that they want to know about a certain token. If they want to learn how to basically trade, they can learn a lot quicker by using AI. So I'd say in terms of education, we're definitely speeding things up, and a lot of people that would not even understand how to trade before are starting to come into trading. An example of your website guy says, doesn't even know how to basically build a website, but he's gone to try and build a website by using AI. Before that never would have happened. So people would have gone to the industries like a coder and say, right, build me a website. But now people are starting to use AI to educate themselves and actually try to do things themselves. So I'd say, as time goes on, yes, maybe it will get wider, but right now I do think it's a positive thing that people are starting to use AI and actually understand the markets rather than just basically gambling and think it's going to go up or if they think it's going to go down.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd say, I agree. To begin with, it's going to make it more democratic because you get the information at your fingertips, whereas before you would never have been able to afford to do that. But at the same time, I think as it goes forwards, then effectively the danger is that you have these black boxes that are trading, and you're not actually learning how that works. So you don't know how to react to it. I mean, it's a bit like a car. In the old days when you had a petrol or a diesel car, if it breaks down, you pick up the you open up the engine, you can probably hit it with a hammer, and actually it'll probably start working again, or at least you can put the wires together. Whereas an electric car, if it stops, you're being towed, whatever happens basically. And so actually, there's that level of you're almost abdicating your knowledge and your understanding, your ability to do something from it because you're just trusting the AI. And if the AI goes wrong, then you don't know where to start. You don't know where, everything can go wrong basically. So, it's a fine balance, but.
Yeah, AI offers additional tools. So the toolkit's gotten wider essentially, but that means if you're new to the game, then you're at a disadvantage essentially.
Trying to get your 10,000 hours in.
Yeah.
I mean, Hugo, you talked a little bit. Jack, you talked a little bit about social media. I think one of the memes of the year is Baron Trump next to Elon Musk looking happy. I mean, he's obviously trading WLF, and they've done very well with that. How is it going to be regulated here? Are AI models going to regulate themselves? Are they going to be audited? Is there going to be a license? How do we stop that? Like, where does that? Who's in charge?
I mean, that's a can of worms if you really want to open that.
Oof.
Because I mean, for example, I don't know if you guys have seen, but Sora AI. I mean, these guys are now making videos of people's faces and doing stuff that they wouldn't be doing. So I think the gates of that have been sort of stormed open. From us as a company, we try to ensure that we're doing everything that we can to keep them in a box, let's say, rather than letting them loose on the markets on their own. So I think it's really down to the people who have the most power in this industry that they need to understand that there could be potential risks if they let the gates wide open. So really, it has to come from say the CEOs and the founders of the big tech companies to really stop these risks from happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, as I always think, I mean, the regulators in general always are trying to catch up with these things, and AI moves so fast that it's going to be very difficult for them to do that. But again, I mean, I guess so, you know, like, so the way that we're coming at it is that, you know, with everyone running a full node, then they can actually be the arbiters of what is truthful data coming through, or the inputs going through and stuff like that, basically. And so I think that actually it becomes, you know, the users themselves will be able to almost regulate this themselves, to be able to know which algorithms are working, which agents are working and stuff like that, and then that feedback loop, so that, you know, because if people pile into one agent and that agent does something stupid or acts in a bad way, then, you know, I think it'll have to be social consensus that sort of starts to say, actually, look, this one isn't working, basically. And so I think that kind of stuff. And then obviously, if you can actually put it all that data on chain, then you can go back and you can look at the audit trail. So I think that, you know, the industry, the technology has the ability to allow self-regulation. And I think that'll be a big part of it. I mean, obviously, at the moment, everyone is just so excited about it. They're just like going for it. Yep. Then there'll be a couple of, you know, obviously, you know, 10th of October wasn't AI agent specific crash. But as we saw, you know, you take the GameStop one, you know, you're going to have a flash crash at some point, and everyone's going to look back and go, uh-oh, this is the agents have done that. And then there's going to be a sort of reset as a result.
It's difficult because you want to input fundamental truths, but there are very few fundamental truths. We essentially live in a subjective world. Even the most fundamental of disciplines, which is physics, hasn't united quantum with mechanical. So how do you put in fundamental truths when in a subjective world? But yeah, one of the scenarios I was playing in my head as you guys were talking about how it might become an AI against AI trading world is, there's some coins with lower liquidity, or essentially in some circumstances we're playing musical chairs. I believe in the fundamentals of the industry, and that there's certain technologies that are benefiting society, but there's also coins where it's just musical chairs. One person buys it with the intention of selling it to the next person. I could see the AI models predicting when they're going to be last, and then suddenly the volume goes up and up and up in the price, and then suddenly straight to zero, like from 1 second to the next, just absolutely no one's touching it anymore.
I mean, just to your point there about musical chairs, I mean, like you said, with coins of low liquidity, like, as much as we train our models to predict large caps, it's very difficult to predict a low cap, because someone might wake up in the morning and they go, do you know what, I'm going to sell my whole bag,
buy or sell it,
dump the chart. I mean, how do you predict that? I mean, I can't look through his window and double check that he's not going to sell in the morning. Like, you can't predict that sort of behavior. Yeah. So AI is very powerful.
Or if there's big marketing behind it.
Well, exactly,
you know,
right?
You see people, you know, there's big launches and you see people drawing lines on charts, but like, if it's everyone's...
It makes me laugh when I see like Coles or influencers drawing TA on like a 2 million market cap token. Yeah, I'm like, it doesn't exist. So AI is very powerful for large... It's all about the data. The more data you have, the more you can predict, the more you can basically benefit you. If there's not a lot of data, or the data is basically inefficient because it's mainly driven by social, then this sort of AI capabilities go a bit out the window, essentially. So AI, in terms of small tokens and low caps, you're right, is useless. I mean, main reason why most people buy into the low caps is, like you said, with marketing and big marketing pushes. you can't predict that with an AI model. You can't predict that price because you don't know how social is going to react to that.
Yeah, and I mean, to your point about how do we predict stuff, it is a beautiful sunny day. So I've been done, and we're British, so we have to talk about the weather. But you know, when we're using AI, what's okay in China is not okay in Saudi, and that's not okay in the US, and like different cultures who are programming that could control it. But I want to spend the last 5 minutes, and I really want to, like, we're at this point where, you know, it's not just, you know, it's working, it's happening. But what are the big opportunities, the big things we've got to watch out over the next 2 to 3 years? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Like, where's it going? What are we going to see?
I think super intelligence is going to come out in those next 2 to 3 years. I mean, every single AI company that I know is working towards that. So at the moment, you have human people building AI and sort of saying, this is how I want the prompt in the X, Y, Z. We're going to be worse at building AI than AI is building AI. So what you're going to see is AI will start to build AI, and when that happens, that could get quite a little bit scary because we're no longer in control, essentially. So in terms of what could be big, I think that's going to be massive, and putting guardrails around that is going to be essential, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think, no, I agree. And I think that, I mean, I really like your point about Trump. Or trying to predict him. I mean, who can? But I think that is the big movement is going to be, you know, obviously, at the moment you've got the AI is making everything much more efficient and taking the emotion out of everything. But at the end of the day, there are social trends still going. Because I mean, the humans still are out there doing things and making decisions and changing their prompts as a result. So I think that for AI to be successful, it needs to, first of all, do the efficiency side, but then it also needs to be better at sort of looking at sentiment change and potential scenarios within the human psyche to go, okay, well, actually, this could have this effect on the prompts that we're going to be starting to get and stuff like that. So I just think it'll be, again, sort of creating more of a rounded approach to trading so that it isn't just purely about the efficiency, but it's also about the sort of wider human input as well.
Looping a few subjects or bring them together that we've talked about, one of them is social media and the impact that certain posts can have on the markets. We have an increasing amount of AI-generated social content, AI agents, and that looks likely to increase over time so that we slowly transition from more human-created content and a little bit of AI to mostly AI and some human. In that context, it becomes important that things like the check mark you have on X, for example, it becomes less of a status thing and more of a this is a human versus an AI. That's going to become quite important. And that comes together with the trading also, because we mentioned how the certain posts can affect the market. If the AIs are trading the markets and the AIs are generating the content on social media that they're then being trained on to make a decision about which direction to trade in, then there's a feedback loop there that can very quickly spiral.
That's a good point about the whole Twitter tick. It used to be a bit of an ego. Let's say I have a Twitter tick, but in terms of actually how content is changing from just my own perspective, a lot more AI-generated videos, content, everything's more coming out onto social media. And how that could impact the market, you're right, it could essentially, because I've seen videos of politicians doing random stuff, and those videos are only going to get better and better. So how do you as a human dictate whether that's real or not real? There needs to be guardrails in place, because it could affect the market if people think that video is real. So it could be quite an aggressive loop, essentially.
Amazing. Well, I'm going home and I'm going to get my AIs trading my DeFi and hope to get loads of Solana tokens. But look, you guys have been an absolutely amazing panel. Can I get please round of applause for the panel? Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.